Vanakkam and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little's Law YouTube channel. So in the previous video, we saw about how to fix the 500, the 5xx errors basically, on how to increase the maximum connection in the configuration and how to fix the issues. So in this video, we're going to see about how to fix the connection leaks. Basically, if you remember the comment that we have received, so in that comment we have received that there are two issues. One is the 5xx errors issue and the other one is the connection leaks. So the question goes like this: they are making connections but they are not able to remove and create new connections. So that's what we call it as connection leaks in terms of the database jargon. So the core problem here is the lost resource analogy. So that's why we are not able to create new connections. So we're going to talk about it's going to be a serious bottleneck that we will hit during performance testing, that is the database connection leaks. So the fastest way to understand this with an analogy, so let me give you an analogy on that. So think of your database connection like the PostgreSQL or MySQL as a limited edition library book. So you have a list of books with you and your application is only allowed 100 of these special books to be accessed. Okay. So when your application needs data, a piece of code checks out a book from the connection pool, which is the library desk. Basically, just imagine you are in a library and you want a book. So if you want to check out a book from the connection pool, which is like the library desk, so a connection leak might happen when your code forgets to check the book backend. So it's actually left on an internal desk and still marked as borrowed in the system's ledger. It's been returned, but it's still left on the internal desk. So it's still marked as borrowed in the system, right? So if our performance test causes this to happen repeatedly, we quickly run out of the 100 available connections because the pool becomes logically empty, even if there are many of those connections are just sitting idle. There are connections available, but they are sitting idle. Because of that, it is shown as they are all occupied. Okay. So what happens is the result is new user requests are told that sorry, all the books are gone. That's all the connections are gone, which will lead directly to 500, 502 and 504 errors that will crash our performance of the application. So the technicality of this is why the code forgets to get this into its system's ledger. So on a technical level, a leak is simply a bug in the resource management code. So if you're a performance engineer, you are supposed to know all these on what happens with the databases and how to fix this. So a database interaction can fail in many different ways. So the connection is borrowed, it's used, but then an unexpected error occurs during the operation. And this error caused the application code to suddenly skips to an error handling path, which completely bypasses the critical line of code that says connection.closeoff, which is the command that tells the pool to return the book. If it doesn't happen, what happens, right? So the proper way of returning the book, that particular action will not happen, right? So the connection pool thinks the connection is still active, so it can never give it to a new request because it's been used by someone else. So by default, the system is designed in a way that it's not supposed to give to a new request, right? So the solution here is you have to do two essential actions. The one is, the good news is that connection leaks are fixable, yes, with coding and monitoring. So the first thing is you have to fix the code with guaranteed closure. So the developers must ensure that the connection is returned no matter what happens, right? Which is you have to return the book back to the librarian or to the library, or the system must understand that it's been registered. So the gist here is we must implement the programming structures like the try with resources statement in modern code. So if you're someone who is into performance engineering onto databases, you must know by this now. So how to do that? So you have to try with resources statement. So what this structure does, so it acts like a digital guarantee because the instant the code is finished or encounters an error, the system automatically triggers the return the book command, and that is the long-term code fix. What I'm always tell you is not a short-term fix. I always tell you the long-term code fix, because again, the second action is you have to use the pool's built-in leak detector, because during high load testing, we cannot manually spot every leak. What you have to do is we need the connection pool to monitor itself, right? So because again, we find these issues during high load testing. So again, we cannot manually spot all those leak. So again, the gist is we configure a leak detection threshold in our pool settings. For example, telling it to monitor any connection held for more than 60 seconds. So this, by monitoring this way, you are able to detect any leaks. So the payoff finally is, if that threshold is crossed, the pool generates a stack trace, a clear digital footprint. So this fingerprint or this footprint will point you directly to the exact line of code that borrowed the connection but failed to return it. Yes, so this is telling someone that this is the guy who has borrowed the book and he has not returned it, or he has returned it in a table, so it does not come to your system. So this is the most powerful debugging tool to quickly squash the bug. Yeah. So by this time, I can feel that you must have understand what exactly I'm telling about, how to fix this active connection part. So again, the analogy of library books also will help you to understand a bit more. If you need to learn more about this topic, or if you need to learn more about any of the other questions in terms of performance testing, engineering, GitHub, DevOps, cloud, please do reach out to me in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Thank you so much. See you all in another next video. Until then, bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and your favorite Little Salah YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.